Halal, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH, YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI. Shalom, to honor to elders, G-Man's great wisdom. Shalom. Shalom to the elect of the 12 tribes. We scattered abroad greetings. We call ourselves the hopeful elect because we don't know who the elect are in these times. Shalom. Alright, so November 1st, it's today. Totally stuff supposed to be going on. This is from the ABC News. National Guard in each state is ordered to create quick reaction forces trained in civil unrest. Military leaders have ordered the National Guard in every state to develop a quick reaction force of troops trained to deal with civil disturbances and riots that can be ready to deploy with just hours' notice. All 50 states. So yeah, they could very well do the November 1st rioting. Yeah.
Cities that are troubled. And we're sending in our National Guard, and if we need more than the National Guard, we'll send more than the National Guard because we're going to have safe cities. We're not going to have people killed in our cities. And whether people like that or not, that's what we're doing. And you've been watching what our missiles do to boats and ships and submarines. How about the submarine? They said, no, that was just fishing. The radical left Democrats said, well, it was a submarine, but they were just fishing. Submarines don't go fishing, do they? You know more about submarines than I do.
Trump just threatened to send now multiple branches of the military to U.S. cities against their will. Because yesterday, Trump delivered an hour-long rambling speech before U.S. troops in Japan, during which he spent a lot of time bragging about his achievements. And at one point, he was discussing all the cities that he thinks are crime-ridden and how his deployment of the National Guard in those places has made them perfect crime-free utopias, with him then going on to say,
people don't care. If we send in our military, if we send in our National Guard, if we send in Space Command, they don't care who the hell it is. They just want to be safe. We have cities that are troubled. We can't have cities that are troubled. And we're sending in our National Guard. And if we need more than the National Guard, we'll send more than the National Guard because we're going to have safe cities. We're not going to have people killed in our cities. And whether people like that or not, that's what we're doing.
Now with that, Trump did not elaborate, but when questioned about his comments during a press gaggle on Air Force One today, we saw this.
What did you say last night when you said you were prepared to send more than the National Guard into American cities?
Sure, I would do that if it was necessary. You know, if it was necessary, I'd do that, but it hasn't been necessary. We're doing a great job without that. It was necessary. As you know, I'm allowed to do that.
Do you need other branches of the military you would send in, or?
Who are you with?
The New York Times.
That's very good, very good. Well, if you write it correctly, I'll give you the answer. But, you know, I want to enact a certain act. I'm allowed to do it routinely, and about 50% of presidents have used that, as you know, and I'd be allowed to do whatever I want. But we haven't chosen to do that because we're doing very well without it. But I'd be allowed to do that, you understand? And the courts wouldn't get involved, nobody would get involved, and I can send the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, I can send anybody I wanted.
I'm sorry I let him talk to you unattended for so long. So, a few things to break down. So first of all, the act that he's referencing appears to be the Insurrection Act, right? It's that centuries-old statute that allows the president to deploy active duty troops for civil policing purposes when there is a rebellion or widespread public unrest. And specifically, the act allows the president to send in those troops when a state government requests it, or if the president declares that the unrest is obstructing the enforcement of federal law. And if you've watched the show or you've paid attention to the news, you're familiar at this point. Trump has floated this idea over and over again. But, very key thing, he is wrong or lying or was lied to and is just regurgitating that this is something that's been routinely used by about 50% of presidents. In all of our history, it's been used by just 17 presidents, so you're talking about 37%, but also, the act has only been invoked 30 times, so it's not common, especially in modern times. In fact, it's only been used 3 times in the last half a century. And the last time it was used at all was more than 30 years ago during the Rodney King riots. So if Trump did decide to pull the trigger, it would be absolutely massive.
We're just at the start. We're going to go into other cities that we're not talking about purposely. We're getting ready to go in. And when they go in, like Cash, as an example, told me that people didn't even know. 5 months ago, they went into Chicago, and they started doing a lot of work in Chicago, and we brought the numbers down a little bit, and but that really was just preparatory work for what we're going to do with the surge. We're going to have a surge of strong, good people, patriots, and they're going to go in, they straighten it all out. So
Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him.
I implore you to watch edifying video. For those of you that may not know, let me look up Patriot. A patriot is generally defined as a person who loves and defends their country. So for those of you that might not know, that might live in the North, you may or may not know, but patriots sound like who? The Edomites, the so-called white man. And amongst those Edomites, you know, these type of people, Redneck. Historically, it has been associated with stereotypes of being uneducated. That is true. Ooh, racist. And uncouth. What does uncouth mean? Lacking good manners, refinement, or grace. Yeah, that fits them to the T. But focusing more on this piece. Yep, these Edomites. The 3Ks, those people. Which there was a documentary on them. You can sign up for them online, supposedly. I'm being serious. But we putting our faith and trust in who? Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. When that goes down, we will be protected. And certain brothers in the truth will be beheaded for the truth. And or sisters. Children might get beheaded for this truth. No, your children. But we trusted in Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19. There is no other help. So shall they fear the name of Yahawah, Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, from the west. West is all the way to America, and his glory from the rising of the sun. Japan is known as the land of the rising sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, an overwhelming force. Because when the flood comes, a flood will literally knock down houses. There goes something right here of a flood. Look at this flood. Tore down the house and started pushing the house. This flood take down people, animals, elephants with it. Houses, all that. So when the enemy shall come in like a flood, those troops, all that. You know, you have the whole martial law thing going on, troops, robot dog, all that. Maybe even a couple of tanks. The spirit of Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, shall lift up a standard against them. They will be protection for the elect. Not all the elect will be just beheaded and all that, and martyrs for the truth. You're going to have plenty of elect that will be protected. Luke chapter 21, verse 18, red letter, words of Yahawashi, 17. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but there shall not an hair of your head perish. Yahweh Shem Yoshai is going to do great miracles in these last days. You got spiritual powers, which is superpowers, invisibility, the angels, the chariot. Let's get there to Maccabees. Arrows and lightnings. Second Maccabees chapter 10, yeah. Start at verse 28. Now the sun being newly risen, they joined both together, the one part having together with their virtue their refuge also unto the Lord Yahawah, for a pledge of their success and victory. The other side making their rage leader of their battle, making their rage leader of their battle. But when the battle waxed strong, there appeared unto the enemies from heaven 5 comely men upon horses. What does this mean? UFOs. What the world calls UFOs, UAPs, are spaceships. What the Bible calls the chariots of Israel, the chariots of God, the chariots of Allahim are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord amongst them as in Sinai in the holy place, as is written about in the book of Psalms. These were chariots that came to defend, with bridles of gold, and 2 of them led the Jews, Israelites, Hebrew Israelites, not the small hats in the land of Israel today. They came and helped Maccabeus, brother Maccabee. They helped him and took Maccabeus betwixt them and covered him on every side with weapons. Man, that must have been glorious. Being protected by the chariots, by the angels, and the angels got their weapons. Tell him what that looked like. And kept him safe, but shot arrows and lightnings, laser beams against the enemies. You know, they shot laser beams, but man, that must have been something to see. I don't know how it was going and all that. Was it going like one long beam? Was it just shooting? I don't know. But they were shooting out laser beams, all this. They could have been spinning. I don't know. Maybe the chariot, I don't know. So that being confounded with blindness, it was bright and full of trouble. They were killed. The sound. And there was slain of footmen 20,000 and 500 and 600 horsemen. So the angels could come down and defend you with their chariots. YAHAWASHI could send the angels to do that. Which would be a what? A standard. Which is what? Fulfilling Bible prophecy. This is Psalm 18. This is King David. I will love thee, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, my strength. The weak will die and the strong will survive here in the times of Jacob's trouble heating up. We're in Jacob's trouble now, but it's only going to heat up. But who is our strength? Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi. Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, QADASH. That is our strength, because the weak will die and the strong will survive. But our strength is Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi. Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Trust in those names. The name of the Lord, the name of Yahawah is a strong tower. The name of, Proverbs chapter 18, verse 10. The name of Yahawah is a strong tower, Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi, and the righteous runneth into it and is safe. When you get to a strong tower, you have a great advantage, so you can win. That's just winning. He's in a strong tower, don't follow him in there, we're going to lose. See the point. Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi is my rock and my fortress. Rock is stable. You know, there's a tsunami coming. Get to that tall rock. That tsunami ain't gonna break down that rock. The builders might come down because of their foundations, but the rock don't move. It's flood. And my fortress. Somebody runs into the fortress, don't follow him, you're gonna lose in there. And my deliverer, my God, my power, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation. Horn represents what? Power. Where's a rhino's power? In his horn. And the power of my salvation. And my high tower. Get to a high tower, you can see the enemy coming in from afar off and make your strategic moves and points. And you can even shoot arrows down and the rest of it. Throw some hot grease, you know. You get a high tower. You got the high ground. Remember Obi-Wan and Anakin in Star Wars? It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. Obi-Wan won because he had the high ground. I will call upon Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from mine enemies, his troops, martial law, all that. The sorrows of death compassed me. The floods of the godly men made me afraid. Verse 4, King David's in a fierce battle. He's about to be sent back to the spirit world, about to be deleted. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. He's about to die out there. In his distress, verse 6, in my distress I called upon Yahawah. We're going to call upon Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi and cried unto my God, my power. They didn't know about Yahawashi back then as we know about him now. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even unto his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. It sounds like some Dragon Ball Z stuff right here. The foundations also of the hills were moved. That's a heavy earthquake. And were shaken because he was wroth. Poor example, but came to mind. Show it on screen. The foundations of the hills. That's a heavy earthquake. Maybe like a 10 or something. So you see the example given here. You know, from Dragon Ball Z, everything is shaking. The buildings, they're going to show the buildings shake. You see everything is shaking. Hills are shaking. Alright, that's enough. I went to the hills. The word there is Harium. Which is Har goes back to what? The word mountains. So the foundations of the mountains was shaking. Yeah, that's a heavy earthquake. There, verse 8, Psalm 18, verse 8. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. This is what the world calls a UFO or UAP, a chariot right here. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. You know, I'm picturing Independence Day, the first one. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. Cherub is what? A chariot, not a naked baby. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. Anybody that's been in a severe storm rolling in? You know, me and the brother was in a storm one time, and them clouds was low, and it was hanging low. Anybody that's been in that, you know. Let me try. Got what they call them. Yeah, if you ever seen something like this outside. Yeah, me and the brother, we was walking into that one time outside. And it's not a city. It's mostly a field. So we really got to see it. It wasn't a field like this, but you know, flat. Yeah, me and the brother was walking into this. No. No, that's very intimidating. Especially as you see it come looming over. You see some lightning, and at the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. A chariot's getting down. Yahweh also, oh, here it comes. Also thundered in the heavens. There was thunder, it was loud. And the highest gave his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. Yeah, he sent out his arrows and scattered them, and he shot out lightnings and discomfited them. Laser beams, all these weapons come out the chariot. Then the channels of waters were seen. Yup, this is some Dragon Ball Z stuff. The wind was going, and the foundations of the world were discovered at thy rebuke, O Yahawah. O Yahawah, BAHASHAM Yahawashi, at the blast of the breath of thy nostrils. That's the laser beam. He sent from above. He took me, the chariots moving him. He drew me out of many waters, is the people. Many waters is the people. He delivered me from my strong enemy and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. They was too strong for King David. What spiritual powers? Man, that must have been some battle. What? It prevented me in the day of my calamity, but Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi was my stead. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands hath he recompensed me. For I kept the ways of Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi. That's what we're supposed to be doing now. James chapter 5 verse 11, person righteous acts the best of our abilities, you know. For I have kept the ways of Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi, and have not wickedly departed from my God, my power. For all his judgments were before me, and I did not put away his statutes from me. I was also upright before him, and I kept myself from iniquity. Therefore hath Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his eyesight. With Alright, and it goes on. With the merciful thou wilt show thyself merciful. With an upright man thou wilt show thyself upright. With the pure thou wilt show thyself pure. And with the froward thou wilt show thyself froward. For thou wilt save the afflicted people, and he sent us the elect, but will bring down high looks pride. And it goes on. So that is what did King David experience? A standard. Alright. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, click on flood.
Strong's H 5104. Nahar.
River. Anybody that's seen those survival shows, Bear Grylls, Man vs. Wild, whatever it's called, you can see about how they say don't cross the rivers. It may look like it's not flowing fast, but you get caught in a river, that's it. That river that river to blow down an elephant. Rivers are very dangerous when it comes to crossing them. That's why you always go above them. Swift currents, submerged hazards, cold water. Cold water is a killer. Going to hyperventilation and all that. But yeah, them survival shows, you can learn that from rivers. The spirit. Let's click on spirit.
Strong's H 7307. Ruach.
One of the definitions is what? Imparting warlike energy and executive and administrative power. As endowing men with various gifts. Warlike energy. YAHAWASHI is going to give his men spiritual powers. Certain men spiritual powers in these last days to do what? When they say it like this, I'm not inciting any type of violence for self-defense purposes, To put the enemy to flight is also another definition. Alright, let's get Samson. I'm not saying any type of violence to wage, self-defense, stuff like that. Judges chapter 14, verse 6. And the spirit of Yahawah came mightily upon him. Verse 5 to get the context. Then went Samson down and his father and his mother to Timnah, and came to the vineyards of Timnah, and behold, a young lion rode against him. Roar! And the spirit of Yahawah came mightily upon him. Upon who? Samson. And he rent him as he would have rent a kid. And he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father or his mother what he had done. A kid is what? A baby goat. Okay, that goat half easily. He rent him. Renting a phone book can be hard enough, let alone a lion. A young lion. A lion in its youth. Bones. Muscles. Tendons. Big muscles. You can do the research if you want. He had nothing in his hand. He didn't have no gun. He didn't have no sword. Just got lion muscles. Look at the muscles on the lion. What did they call it? You're ripped. Lions are ripped. Thick muscles. Blood, the veins, the skin. Lion skin. Lion muscles is stronger than the normal human's muscles. The lion's muscles and skin are significantly better than a human's in terms of raw strength, density, durability, and puncture resistance. Yeah, ripping a phone book. Lion stronger than the phone book. The skin and muscles is way stronger than the phone book. So stuff like that's going to happen in these last days with spiritual powers. To what? Put the troops to flight. They come into your house. Spiritual powers kick in with your superpowers. They be running out the door. And or sent back to the spirit world. Yeah. Yeah, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. If any man shall hurt them, he must in this matter be killed with 2 witnesses. Now, right now, that's happening spiritually with this truth, but yeah, later on. Not that you're gonna breathe out fire, but spiritual powers. Now, the fire, breathing out fire, spiritually now, that's this truth, because the scriptures speak about, is not my word like a fire, saith Yahawah, or a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? Other scriptures. Behold, who maketh this people wood. Let's get that. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 14. Wherefore thus saith Yahawah, God of hosts, God of armies, hosts is armies, power of armies. Because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them. Yeah, this truth, it's like a fire. This truth can really hurt. It can bug people out, and all that. You may receive judgments. This truth is like a fire. It will devour whatever it gets, whatever it touches. If you ain't right, you're gonna get consumed with the fire. Whatever happens, whatever YAHAWASHI puts upon you, he could bug you out, all that. But this truth is deadly serious. Like a flood, the spirit of YAHAWASHI should lift up a standard against us. Click on standard.
Strong's H 5127. Noose. Noose.
To put to flight, to flee, escape, to take flight. Bro's gonna be out here flying. Could escape by flying away, turning invisible, teleporting. Teleporting is in the scriptures. It's in Bel and the Dragon. Yeah, teleporting is in the scriptures. To put to flight. Well, that's self-defense right there. They come into your house, they go running out because you got superpowers. And you was in there, self-defensing yourself, which you know what that means, self-defense. Not inciting any type of fight or anything. So self-defense in your house with superpowers, they get put out. Now let's get Bel and the Dragon, the teleportation, that'll probably be it. Habakkuk. Brother Habakkuk. Yeah, Bel and the Dragon, chapter 1, verse 34. Start at 7 lines. 33. Now there was in Jewry, Jewry that goes into Jews, that's Israelites. And there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk. Jewry, where the Israelites lived, called Habakkuk, prophet called Habakkuk, who had made pottage and had broken bread in a bowl and was going into the field to bring it to the reapers. So you just gotta imagine this. Brother Habakkuk, he got his food, whatever. He's gonna bring it to the reapers in the field, for the crop. They're reaping the crops. Alright, I'm gonna go bring them some food. He's walking. But the angel of Yahawah said unto Habakkuk, Go, carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. So Habakkuk is in the land of Israel, Jewry. And Habakkuk's like, I don't know where this place is. I don't know, I've never seen Babylon, I don't know where the den is. Then the angel of Yahawah took him by the crown and bare him by the hair of his head, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. Define vehemency. Intensity of feeling or conviction. Expressing strong opinions forcefully and characterized by great energy of force, emotions, fervent, great forceful or intensity. Man, that must have been something. The great vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon. No telling what that felt like. But yeah, Habakkuk got teleported. And Habakkuk cried, saying, O Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which God hath sent thee. And Daniel said, Thou hast remembered me, O God, O power, Neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. That is true. So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of Yahweh set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. Instant transmission. Pew! Scotty, beam me up. You know the whole thing. So yeah, trust in Yahweh Shem Shai. Did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Let's get that. Last one. Did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? It's in the Apocrypha. Sirach chapter 2 verse 10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord Yahweh, Yahweh Shem Shai, and was confounded? What Yahweh Shem Shai had promised them did not come to pass. They was confounded, like, what? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Was Daniel forsaken, as you just saw with Habakkuk, with the teleportation? And the rest of it, you can read the scriptures. Whatsoever was written for our. Whatsoever was written aforetime was written for our learning, as the scriptures speak about. Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? The answer is no. Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? No. Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? None. I read like this. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? None of them were confounded. Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? None of them was forsaken. Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? He did not despise those that called upon him. To answer the questions. No, this is a question right here. None of them was confounded. None of them was forsaken. None of them was ever despised. The elect will call upon Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, and Yahweh by Shem Yahushai will hear them. He will not despise. Last point. Or maybe two last points. Psalms chapter 116 verse 15. Precious in the sight of Yahweh, Yahweh by Shem Yahushai is the death of his saints. If you do get put to death for the truth of martyr, it was precious in his sight. Remember Stephen saw Yahawashi standing on the right hand when he was being put to death. Now Yahawashi, it said that he is sit on the right hand of the Father. So when Stephen was being put to death, what if Yahawashi stood because Stephen was being put to death for Yahawashi? Precious in the sight of is the death of his saints. Revelation chapter 20 verse 4. And I saw thrones, judgment, authority, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. It's deep. And to him that overcometh and keepeth my words unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. We shall. To him will I give power over the nations. That's going to be to the elect. So if you overcome, even if you're a martyr, you're going to receive a reward for that. A massive reward. For the sufferings of this life cannot be compared to the glory which shall be revealed in us. For our affliction is but a light affliction. That's what we speak about. We're not being punished the amount that we should be for our sins. Read about the book of Psalms. And judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh shine, for the word of Yahweh, and which shall not worship the beast, according to Esau's system, all that, neither his image, neither have received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, mark of the beast in the hand, right hand or left hand, RFID, CHIP, forehead, brain, CHIP. Neuralink is a good example of that. Go to Revelation 14, click on hands for those that receive the mark of the beast. It's higher, which means right hand or left hand. So it truly is right hand or left hand. And it lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. His image, going to his philosophies, his laws, LGBT, Q, all that. Skittle people. The beast. Man, Esau system, all that. And the American way, the beast. Alright. On that note, Shalom, Kal Halal, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, BAHASHAM, QADASH, RAWCHAA, YAHAWAH, RAWCHAA, Shalom, the Ba'al to LG, my great wisdom. Shalom.